That day, I rejected Xiao Yue and married my ill-fated fiancé, Jiang Shuji. In my previous life, I loved Xiao Yue for 10 years, seeing his wedding snatching as a blessing and eloping with him. But after marriage, he treated me like dirt, forcing me to drink contraceptive medicine until I died. Only then did I learn the truth behind that famous wedding snatching that shocked the capital. It was nothing more than a ridiculous bet he made with someone else. His beloved ended up marrying far away because of this farce and died in childbirth. So he blamed all his hatred on me, resenting me for a lifetime and tormenting me for just as long. At this moment, the sound of swan horns blared deafeningly in my ears, and outside the bridal sedan, I could already hear him reining in his horse. My personal maid, Kaiyun, leaned close to the window and whispered, "Miss, there are 2 men blocking the road. It looks like they're here to snatch the bride." The commotion died down, and a lazy, nonchalant male voice rang out.
Miss Shen, the heir of the Duke of Dingo and I, are here to intercept the bridal sedan. Do you want to go with me, or with him?
I clenched the red bridal veil in my hand. Before I could say a word, Xiao Yue couldn't wait to distance himself from the situation.
Bai Chu, I know you like Miss Shen. Today, I'm just here to play along. Don't drag me into this and make the young lady misunderstand.
Bai Chu is the youngest son of General Bai, and he has been close friends with Xiao Yue since childhood. He teased him, saying,
Xiao Yue, give it a rest. Do you really think Miss Shen would be interested in you?
I figured that Xiao Yue was probably reborn too, because this time she was desperate not to get involved with me again. In our previous life, she and Bai Chu used me as a decoy to run off and tie the wedding sedan together. If anyone was going to elope, I foolishly believed it. Without a second thought, I abandoned my fiancé and jumped in. Xiao Yue's farce happened to be caught by the returning Duke Dingguo. Xiao Yue had just been playing around, but in the end, she couldn't back out and had to grit her teeth and marry me. I never knew before that Bai Chu secretly liked me. Thinking back, whenever I ran into Bai Chu before, that night, Xiao Yue would be especially resentful even in bed. I gently tapped on the carriage window and gave Kaiyun a few instructions. She nodded, walked forward and shouted, "My lady wants to ask young Master Bai, do you truly like her?" Bai Chu hesitated for a moment, blushed and said,
Yes, I do have feelings for Miss Shen. Would she be willing to leave with me?
Kaiyun had just opened her mouth to continue speaking when Xiao Yue interrupted her with a cold laugh, her tone dripping with sarcasm, and said,
The young lady of the Shen family really isn't picky at all. From what I see, no matter which young master showed up today, she would have agreed. Bai Chu, hurry up and call your father home to start preparing for the wedding.
There was a murmur from the side, but I calmly instructed Kaiyun to continue. Kaiyun held back her anger and went on shouting, "If young Master Bai really meant well, why didn't he come to our house to propose before the young lady got married? If he wanted to win her over, why did he have to stop the bridal sedan in the street and ruin her reputation? Could it be that young Master Bai just wants to say he was only joking if he can't get his way, so he can save face for himself? So, everyone else is just here for the gossip, huh? Your reputation matters, but my young lady's reputation doesn't." Bai Chu was immediately left speechless by the retort, stammering as he tried to respond.
I didn't!
Kaiyue ignored him and finished what she had to say. "My young lady has already said she never intended to break off the engagement. So I asked young Master Bai and Lord Xiao to please step aside and not delay her auspicious wedding hour." Xiao Yue's expression changed, and she stared intently at the curtain of the bridal sedan, listening as the music started up again. I let out a long sigh of relief in my heart. This time, I finally wouldn't have to be entangled with Xiao Yue anymore. But just as the sedan was lifted, someone forcefully pressed it down from the front. I hadn't sat firmly and, caught off guard, tumbled out of the sedan, only to be caught by a strong, steady arm. It was my betrothed, Jiang Shuji. I nodded to him as a gesture of thanks. Xiao Yue, who had just withdrawn her outstretched hand, said coldly, "Shen Huayin. You absolutely cannot marry Jiang Shuji." Through the swaying beaded curtain, my gaze met his.
What nonsense is young Lord Xiao talking about? Jiang Shuji is my betrothed. Today is the day we are to be married. Why shouldn't I be able to marry him?
Xiao Yue glared at me, gritting her teeth as she spoke.
Shen Huayin! You know very well in your heart.
My whole body stiffened, and only then did I recall that Jiang Shuji would lose his life in half a year. Jiang Shuji, serving as the deputy minister of the Court of Judicial Review, was upright, principled, and incorruptible. Such an honest official was a blessing to the common people. But in the officialdom, he couldn't even get through a single year. He would be implicated in a major corruption case, wrongfully accused, and die in prison. He had no relatives left in his family, and in the end, there wouldn't even be anyone to collect his ashes. But even so, I also couldn't break off the engagement again. In my previous life, when faced with my reckless behavior, Jiang Shuji never once scolded me. He simply lowered his gaze calmly and said one thing.
Then I wish Miss Shen, may all your wishes come true.
Later by chance I happened to run into him and he saw the bruises on my arm. He even said that if I ever needed help, I could go to the Dali temple to find him. Such a pure and upright official as him shouldn't have met such a tragic end. Shen Huayin. Do you really want to marry him? Xiao Yue interrupted my thoughts. I replied firmly, no matter what happens in the future, I will marry him. Jiang Shu only glanced at me, his eyes flickering, and quietly clenched his fists tightly. Xiao Yue, however, looked at me gloomily and let out a cold laugh. She seemed perfectly fine. Knowing her as well as I do, she must be absolutely furious right now. I don't understand what she's angry about. This lifetime, she doesn't have to be forced to marry me. She can go and marry her beloved white moonlight if she wants, and everyone would be happy. I really don't want to waste my brain on this. I turned my head and sat back in the sedan chair. I thought I could peacefully finish the wedding ceremony with Jiang Sujin, but in the end, something still went wrong at the very last second before the ceremony began. Xiao Yue suddenly barged in with her people, using the excuse of overturning a wrongful conviction to forcibly take Jiang Shujing away, completely ruining the wedding. This was clearly a move against me. Just as I was about to argue with him, Jiang Shujing stopped me.
Miss Shen, there's no need to worry. I have always acted openly and above board. As long as the investigation is clear, nothing major will go wrong. It's just that today's wedding turned into such a mess. If you want to back out and not get married, I'll respect your decision.
The words stuck in my throat as I watched him being taken away, and I never got the chance to say them. Xiao Yue drove everyone out and looked at me coldly.
Shen Huayin, are you happy now?
What do you mean by that, young Master Xiao?
Don't pretend to be clueless here. I know you've been reborn too. I just wanted to tell you that. As long as I don't agree, don't even think about marrying me.
I said coldly. Then I really don't understand. You have the woman of your dreams. This life you can marry her. I'll marry Jiang Shujin, just to make room for the two of you. What's so bad about it? With the way you're acting now, shameless and making a scene, should I take it as you being jealous? Xiao Yue's expression changed and he loudly retorted.
How could that be possible? Shen Huayin, stop flattering yourself.
Seeing the mocking, amused look on my face, he took a deep breath to suppress his anger and said,
You are my woman. And yet you went and married someone else. Do you think I'm invisible? For the sake of our marriage, I came up with a solution that works for both of us. After I marry Yue Ru, I'll bring you into the household as well. Until then, don't even think about marrying anyone else.
I couldn't understand where she got the confidence to think that after being bullied and tormented like that, I wouldn't hold a grudge and would even be willing to be her concubine. I was about to refuse, but then I worried something might happen. What if Xiao Yue used her power to cause trouble for Jiang Shujing? Seeing that I stayed silent, she took it as my consent, came closer, and pinched my chin. I instinctively shuddered in fear, and she unconsciously eased her grip. With a hint of concession, she said,
All right. I understand you won't marry Jiang Shujin. It's just that you're upset. I didn't try to snatch the bride this time, so don't be afraid. As long as you get along well with Yue Ro, I promise I'll treat you well from now on. You won't be treated like that again. After all, our bodies are quite compatible.
At that moment, someone hurriedly entered the room and interrupted him.
The heir and the duke are back and need you urgently.
After he left, I rubbed my chin until it turned red, harboring resentment like a cat but having to force it down. At that moment, I was especially worried about Jiang Shujing's safety. I originally wanted to stay at the Jiang family and wait for him to return home safely, but the eldest son of the Song family, Shen Huaizhu, said,
The wedding hasn't happened yet, so it doesn't count.
They dragged me back to my parents' house no matter what. Only after returning did I realize she had already made other plans. When my parents heard that Xiao Yue and Bai Chu had tried to force themselves on me in public, and that Xiao Yue even kidnapped Jiang Shu's sister to stop my wedding, they naturally assumed the two of them had deep feelings for me.
One is Dingo's heir, the other is General Bai's favorite son. Either is better than an honest assistant minister of the judicial court.
My mother held on to me and pleaded earnestly, saying, Huayin, listen to your mother. Break off the engagement with Jiang Shujin and choose Xiao Yue. When she inherits the title of Duke of Dingo in the future, you would become the Duchess. This is a blessing our family could only dream of. Duchess. In my previous life, I was indeed the Duchess. Outsiders thought it was glorious, but only I know what kind of life I actually lived. It was like being stuck in a muddy pit, never seeing a single day of sunlight. I shook my head and said I would never marry Xiao Yue. My mother's smile froze for a moment, but she pretended nothing was wrong, and continued to persuade me, saying, Fine, then go and choose Bai Pu. He is handsome and talented, and both his father and brothers have already made their mark. He definitely won't fall short in the future. But if you look into it carefully, all my misfortunes were because of Bai Chu. It was because he took a liking to me that he encouraged Xiao Yue to make that bet. He's timid and lacks responsibility. Not a good match. I spoke calmly and firmly. Mother, I choose no one. In this life, I only plan to marry Jiang Shuqing.
Seriously, don't you even think about it?
You must choose one. It would be best if you chose Xiao Yue. Once we form a marriage alliance with the Duke of Dingo, my career in the officialdom will definitely go smoothly in the future.
Shen Huaizhu is soft. He's a superficial student, yet they say connections ensure success, but only true skill survives the storms. Unexpectedly, my father sternly said,
Huayin, getting married is not just your own business. You have to consider the future prospects of our Shen family.
I looked at them one by one. These three people closest to me were actually treating me like a valuable commodity, hoping to exchange me for the greatest benefit. After they finished discussing, they made the decision for me.
Huayin, find some time to mention it to Xiao Yue and ask her to come propose marriage as soon as possible.
I stood up and took a deep breath.
If you want to get married so badly, do it yourselves.
I absolutely refused to agree, and then I put all these petty matters out of my mind, living this life over again. If I still can't change my fate, then it's all for nothing. I was really worried about Jiang Xujing. He was only suffering this injustice because of me. After I found out where he was being held, I hurried over and secretly slipped a lot of money to the guards, but they just wouldn't let me in.
Come in, Miss Shen. You don't have a pass, so I can't let you in.
Can't you make an exception? I'll be out in just a moment.
Really can't do it. Please don't make things difficult for me.
As we were talking, someone came out from inside. It was Jiang Xujing. I happily said,
Lord Jiang, you're out. You weren't mistreated, were you?
I looked him over carefully. Aside from looking a bit haggard, he didn't seem to have any visible injuries. He glanced down and noticed he was still wearing his wedding robe, and said a little awkwardly,
I'm fine, really. I'm terribly sorry, Miss Shen. I made you worry and be afraid because of me.
Lord Jiang, from now on, just call me Huayin. Let's talk as we walk.
All right, Huayin. You don't need to call me Lord Jiang anymore either.
It is a pleasure to meet you. You are welcome to call me Jiang Shujin, or just Shujin.
The last two words he mumbled so softly it seemed he was a bit shy. I couldn't help but press my lips together and smile. People always say Jiang Shujin never jokes and is always serious and proper, but from his fair and clear face, I caught a glimpse of tenderness and awkwardness. The two of us chatted casually along the way, and when he escorted me to the gate of the Shen residence, we stopped in sync, as if by tacit agreement. Huayin. There's something I want to tell you. Jiang Shujin, I want to say. You go first, you say it first. Our makeup is going to smudge together. I couldn't help but burst out laughing, and Jiang Shujin couldn't hold it in either, the corners of his mouth lifting. It was the first time I'd seen him so happy. His usually cold eyes seemed to melt into the gentle spring river, the ice and snow thawing, full of the vitality of spring. I couldn't help but stare in a daze. Suddenly snapping back to my senses, I said, a bit embarrassed, You're in trouble this time. It's all because of me. If you really marry me, I'm afraid things like this will keep happening in the future. If you regret our engagement, Jiang Shujing hurriedly said.
I haven't regretted it at all. Actually, I wanted to bring this up too. My family background isn't very solid. Right now, I've only managed to become a minor official at the Dali Temple. On our wedding day, I might have no choice but to leave you alone. If you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick, I'm willing to take the initiative and call off the engagement.
I lifted my head, looked straight into his sincere eyes, and said word by word, I would never regret it, not even if I die.
If you don't regret it, I'll risk my life to protect you and keep you safe for the rest of your life. In the past, I was all alone, reckless and impulsive in what I did, never thinking about the future. But from now on, I'll definitely be more thoughtful. I'll plan carefully and work hard to climb up, and I'll never let you end up in a situation where others can push you around again.
His words struck right at my heart, as if leaving a mark. My face started to burn, and I quickly said, Okay, I get what you mean. Just follow your heart. Also, let's pick a new auspicious date for our wedding. It wasn't until we walked all the way back to the courtyard that the heat finally faded from my face. How can Jiang Shujin say those sweet words with such a straight face and serious tone? The corners of my mouth curled up unconsciously.
Young miss, I'm here. Are you really this happy?
My expression froze for a moment. I looked up and saw Xiao Yue standing in my courtyard with a mischievous grin. My face immediately fell. What are you doing here? I asked. Xiao Yue looked smug.
Of course your father invited me. Why? Is there anything we need to avoid between the two of us? Does your father really have to send a message for us to talk?
I haven't even asked my father why he called you here. Xiang Yue just smiled.
Why are you pretending to be clueless? Of course it's to discuss our marriage. Don't worry. I know you don't want to be a concubine. I've already compromised. I persuaded Yue Rou and she agreed to let me marry you as the secondary consort of the heir. On the day I bring Yue Rou home next month, you'll also enter the residence together.
Now that Xujin is completely safe, I have no more concerns, I said coldly. Xiao Yue. A secondary consort is still a concubine. I will absolutely never marry you. His expression changed instantly, and he said in a deep voice,
Shen Huayin, don't be too greedy. Although I can't give you a proper wedding as the main wife this time. But with your family background, marrying into the Duke's residence is already reaching above your station. Or is it that you've always had Bai Chu on your mind? You want to marry him?
I kept a stern face. I don't want to marry him either. Do I really have to choose between the two of you? I didn't finish the last half of my sentence because Xiao Yue suddenly pulled me into his arms. He seemed to let out a long sigh of relief, looking deeply affectionate.
That's good. Now I understand. Your heart is completely filled with me. I was worried. I've started to miss you a little.
Right after that, he stared straight at me and actually lowered his head to kiss me. I could feel his body reacting.
What are you doing? Let go of me.
I was so disgusted I almost threw up on the spot and I slapped him hard across the face. I cursed angrily.
Xiao Wei, Please just get away from me right now.
Ever since Xiao Yue stormed off, I hadn't seen her for several days. Coincidentally, the wedding date that Jiang Shujing and I had carefully chosen was the exact same day that Xiao Yue was marrying Li Yuero. It just goes to show that day really was an auspicious one. Of course, my parents refused to agree to it and insisted on calling off the engagement no matter what. Our birth charts were already exchanged, and Jiang Shujing refused to cancel. My parents dared not challenge the vice minister, so they planned to wait until my marriage to the duke to make it final. Jiang Shujing and I stayed silent, letting them proceed for now. The old man was happy for nothing, because just a few days later, it was time for the princess to host her annual spring polo event. My dear friend Sumo dragged me along with her. She had her eye on the prize the princess was offering, and pleaded with me in a soft voice, calling me Dear Yin Yin. That beautiful hairpin would go perfectly with the brand new dress I just had made. As long as you are willing to play Quimu with me, we can definitely win that prize. Looking at her sweet, coquettish face, I couldn't help but soften. I thought of how much she loves beautiful things, yet in her past life, she was dragged down by her family and died on the road to exile. Today, I am absolutely going to help you fulfill this wish. But as luck would have it, who should be across from us but Li Yuerong? Her gaze was strange, fixed intently on me. I couldn't be bothered to pay her any attention, and focused on playing Quimu. Li Yueru, however, was clearly out to get me, sometimes trying to trip up my horse, sometimes chasing after me relentlessly. But her skills were so poor that she ended up falling off her horse first. In the end, Sumo and I won the prize. Just as I picked up that pink and white hairpin, I saw Xiao Yue bringing Li Yueru over to me, clearly up to no good. Xiao Yue glared at me, full of anger.
Shen Huayin! Why did you have to mess with Yueru? He got hurt, and now you're satisfied. How did you become so mean?
Is he blind or something? I frowned and said, playing Quimu with the young Lord Xiao? It's all about skill. Bumps and scrapes are inevitable. If you can't handle losing, then you shouldn't have come to play in the first place. Lin Yueru's eyes flickered with disappointment as she spoke. That's right. It's my fault for not being skilled enough. I shouldn't have been so reckless, trying to snatch that hairpin just because it looks so much like the one my mother left me. My mother's hairpin has long since fallen apart. Even if this one looks similar, it doesn't belong to me. It's all my fault. Brother Xiao Yue, let's go. Her words were full of grievance, and Xiao Yue's eyes immediately filled with pity for her. He pulled a long face and loudly ordered me.
Shen Huayin. Didn't you hear? Hurry up and give the hairpin to Yueru.
I refused to give it. Xiao Yue laughed sarcastically and stepped forward, looming over me. My heart tightened, remembering how she bullied me in my past life. Frustration welled up and my eyes reddened as I shouted,
Xiao Yue, are you really going to use force?
My sudden outburst of anger startled Xiao Yue. As if she had thought of something, she stopped and approached me, saying slowly, No, I'm trying to negotiate with you. I bluntly retorted, Don't talk about anything. Shen Huayan. What?
This!
How unreasonable. I shoved the hairpin into Sumo's hand. Go and ask the Princess Royal to come and judge who's right or wrong. Let's see if the prize we won fair and square should just be handed over to the shameless young Lord Xiao. Sumo nodded nervously and took off running into the distance. Xiao Yue tried to stop her, but it was too late.
Nonsense! How could we bother the Princess Royal over such a trivial matter?
The Princess Royal once assisted the Emperor in ascending the throne and is highly valued by him. If she were to find out that the eldest son of the Duke of Dingguo tried to forcibly take the prize she awarded for the competition, not only would it anger her, but it would also bring disgrace to the entire Dingguo Duke's household. Seeing Xiao Yue's face fall, Li Yueru gently tried to comfort him. Calm down first, Brother Xiao. Miss Shen is being so stubborn with me. She probably resents that I'm about to marry you as your main wife, while she can only be a concubine. She just feels stifled and wronged in her heart. But to put it plainly, isn't it all because she cares about you? We'll have plenty of days together in the future. I believe that sooner or later she'll let go of her prejudice against me. Forget it, Brother Xiao Yue. Let's just go home for now. Xiang Yue gave me a dark look.
Shen Hua. I don't care what grievances you have in your heart. But you need to understand, Xueru is my lifeblood. If you dare to bully him, I will never let you off. You don't want to suffer the same punishment again, do you?
Xiao Yue was trying to scare me, but there's no way I'd ever jump into the fire pit in this lifetime. After the two of them walked away, Sumo ran back, and only then did I finally come to my senses, realizing my back was already soaked in cold sweat. Yin Yin, are you okay? Your face is so pale. The princess left a long time ago. I couldn't find her. Did those two bully you? I just smiled. It's nothing, I managed to scare them off. Well, that's good. Even if she's the heir apparent, she can't just do whatever she wants. There's always someone who can put her in her place. That's right, at most he's just the heir. On my way home, I ran into Bai Chu. He was clearly waiting for me on purpose, and when he saw me, he hurried over and apologized with a serious look on his face.
I'm truly sorry, Miss Shen. What happened last time was my fault, so I'm here to apologize to you. I understand that nothing can make up for the harm I caused you. I just hope that if you ever need my help in the future, you won't hesitate to ask. I will do whatever it takes, no matter the cost.
Seeing him bow deeply to me, I couldn't help but recall the scene from my previous life, where his father and brother died tragically on the battlefield, so I couldn't stop myself from offering a word of advice. Wait. All I ask is that you patiently listen to a few words from me. Your father and brother care about you deeply. They keep you protected in the capital. But going to war is always a matter of life and death. If something were to happen to them, they would be counting on you. Have you ever thought about that? What abilities do you really have? Are you really capable of stepping in to save the day? After I left, Bai Chu stood there in a daze for a long time. As the date of Xiao Yue's wedding drew closer, the Shen family happily prepared to marry me off. Xiao Yue, still holding a grudge from last time, deliberately wanted to embarrass me, even refusing to send a single betrothal gift to the Shen family. Meanwhile, Jiang Shujing was so busy that he barely had time to visit me. In just a few days, it was time for Xiao Yue to marry Li Yueru. That day was also the day Jiang Shujing and I were to be wed. I put on my red wedding dress and did my makeup in front of the mirror, when my maid leaned in and whispered in my ear. Everything has been settled on young Master Jiang's side. He told you to relax, miss. I nodded, but as I thought about it, I couldn't help but feel a little uneasy about Jiang Shujing. My original plan was that since Xiao Yue was going to marry the supporting female character, he definitely wouldn't come to fetch the bride himself. As long as we secretly swapped someone halfway, no one would notice. But Jiang Shujing absolutely refused to agree to this.
Yin, I just want to marry you openly and honorably. Don't be afraid. I'll take care of everything.
A maid rushed in from outside, excitedly shouting that the groom had arrived. I stood up and walked toward the main door. Although I had walked down that corridor countless times, today it felt especially long. When my parents realized it was Jiang Shujing who had come to fetch the bride, their faces instantly darkened.
Jiang Shujing, my daughter broke off the engagement with you a long time ago.
She's about to marry into the Duke's household. You'd better leave now.
People...
The wedding procession from the Duke's household will arrive soon.
Lord Jiang, please don't block the way.
Everyone's gaze instantly turned to Jiang Shujing. He remained calm and unhurried, and spoke in a clear, crisp voice.
Father-in-law? Mother-in-law? I've already given the betrothal gifts, and our birth dates have been exchanged. A unilateral annulment doesn't count. Not long ago, my wedding with Yin was interrupted by an accident. Today, I've come specifically to fetch my bride again. I asked the two elders to please show some mercy.
Brother Jin, seeing how oblivious he is, cursed irritably.
Jiang Shujing! How can you compete with the Duke's young lord? You and my sister don't belong together. Stop waiting for his easy life.
I had just stepped out the door when I heard the whole family ganging up on him. I was about to speak up for him, but Jiang Shujing just winked at me mischievously, then calmly pulled out a special decree from the Empress from his pocket.
The union of man and woman is the foundation of stability. I, Qing Jiangshu, with outstanding political achievements and a loyal, upright character, and Miss Shen of the Shen family, gentle, virtuous, wise, kind, and of noble conduct, by special decree the two are to be married, and a wedding date is to be set.
My parents took the decree with grim faces.
We will certainly comply.
My parents didn't dare stop it smiling as they sent me off. I then realized his late nights were spent solving a case for the Empress. Her nephew had hit someone while drunk. The person died later, but Jiang Shujing found the real killer. This cleared the nephew and stopped a political attack against the crown prince, facing the Empress's reward. He requested to marry me as a reward for his efforts. To express her gratitude, the Empress sent someone to add to my dowry. Just as Jiang Shujing said, he came to fetch me with great fanfare. Xiao Yun finally married Li Yueru, making up for the regrets of his previous life. It should have been a joyful moment, but suddenly Shen Huaying popped into her mind. She thought of how Shen Huaying looked in red in her past life. Her waist seemed even slimmer, so slender that one hand could hold her. The hand holding the red bridal veil would tremble slightly with nervousness. The veil itself wasn't so complicated or ornate, just a beaded curtain swaying back and forth. You could see his big, sparkling eyes filled with joy.
Young master, hurry up and start the wedding. You're completely dazed by the bride.
Only then did Xiao Yue snap out of it, reminding herself that the person beside her was Li Yueru, whom she had liked since childhood. She pulled herself together and went through the motions of the wedding, but her mind was completely out of control, still constantly thinking about Shen Huaying. Everyone was busy with her and Li Yueru's ceremony, and had no time to pay attention to her. As the concubine, she entered the household without a formal banquet and could only be carried straight into the room to sit and wait, which would surely make her feel very sad. Would she be unable to hold back her tears? The thought of her crying suddenly made Xiao Yue feel a surge of irritation. He really did miss Shen Huaying, and was already planning to find a chance to see him later, but tonight he had to stay with Yuero. She definitely couldn't stay the night. Xiao Yue felt a trace of disappointment, and her steps toward Shen Huaying's courtyard grew faster and faster. The courtyard was draped with red ribbons, but it was as quiet as if no one lived there. She disliked this kind of silence, and frowned as she gave instructions to the attendant following behind her.
Get servants to attend to him. No one may mistreat him anymore.
The attendant watched his young master's back, feeling utterly confused. There wasn't even a soul in this courtyard. Didn't the young master realize that? Just as he was about to speak, he saw the young master already hurrying off, so he quickly ran after him. Xiao Yue stood at the bedroom door, trying to steady her breathing, thinking to herself that if Shen Huaying really was that clingy and wanted to stay here with her tonight, it wouldn't be so bad. Having made up her mind, she couldn't help but smile, the corners of her mouth betraying her delight. She reached out and pushed open the door. The next second, her movements suddenly froze, and all the anticipation in her eyes vanished. There was no one in the room at all. Where had Shen Huaying gone? The attendant who had chased after her was panting heavily.
Young master, the secondary wife isn't here. The men who went to pick him up reported that he was betrothed by the Empress.
Xiang Yue's expression changed dramatically and she shouted loudly.
Why was I not informed?
I married Zhang Shujing smoothly, and after we finished the nuptial wine, he carefully hid the sachet containing my hair. Then his cheeks flushed red and he stared at me helplessly.
Why, Yin, you look really beautiful today.
I lowered my head shyly and said that I understood.
No, that's not what I meant. I was saying it's getting dark.
The red wedding curtains were drawn, and Zhang Shujin's fiery gaze fell on me. My heart raced and I swallowed nervously. I whispered, "Be gentle, I'm scared." His movements were truly gentle, like a feather tickling an itch, impossible to dodge, impossible to escape. It was as if a small boat drifted into gentle waters, rocking endlessly, boundless. My tears dried and flowed again, and I heard it countless times. "Grandpa, you look even more beautiful when you cry." I finally drifted off when I couldn't stay awake any longer. Shujing's household was simple, with just a cook, a gatekeeper, and her childhood companion. It only felt livelier after I brought my own maids, so rules were few. I slept until the sun was high. The maid who had been waiting outside only spoke once she saw I was awake.
Miss, something has happened. That young Master Xiao is here. The young master is blocking him, but he seems to have gone mad and insists on seeing you.
After I finished washing up and putting on my makeup, I walked to the main hall. Xiao Yue and Zhang Shujin were staring each other down, and when they saw me, they both reached out their hands toward me.
Wife, you're awake! Are you hungry? Are you pregnant? Did someone force you to marry him?
I looked at Jiang Shujing, placed my hand in his, and blushed a little as I recalled what happened last night. I got up too late and made you wait so long.
It's all right.
Madam, you've worked hard.
Xiao Yue looked at how close the two of us were and was so angry his eyes turned red.
Shen Huayin, we had an agreement. You were supposed to be my concubine. How could you marry him?
I stared at him coldly and said icily, "Young Master Xiao, that was all just your wishful thinking. I never agreed to anything, and I told you long ago that I would never marry you. My husband and I haven't even eaten yet. You should leave now." His face darkened as he shouted loudly.
Shen Huayan, come back with me. I'm your husband. The one you love is me. Have you forgotten our past life?
I didn't want Jiang Shujing to know those secrets, so I loudly interrupted him. "Xiao Yue. My husband and I were betrothed by the Empress herself. If you have any objections, you can go to the palace and reason with her. Besides, I have absolutely no feelings for you. I wish I could just be a stranger to you. And never see you again. Now you have already married the one you love. And I have also married my husband. Please, stop pestering me." Xiao Yue's face turned deathly pale as she stared hard into my eyes, trying to find any trace of a lie, but there was none. After a long time, she finally gritted her teeth and said,
I will never stop clinging to you, Shen Huayin. You are mine, and no one can take you away from me.
I will make Zhang Shujing's fate 10 times worse than last time. I'll be waiting for you to come and beg me.
After Xiao Yue left, Zhang Shujing gently held me and took me to eat. She must have had many questions in her heart about the argument just now, but she didn't ask me a single one. Thinking about Xiao Yue's words made me feel uneasy.
Sister Xu, I'm worried that Xiao Yue will try to get back at you.
Zhang Shujing, who is usually so serious and reserved, now wore an expression of unmistakable tenderness and affection.
Yin, don't worry. Your husband isn't someone who can be bullied so easily. I have a solution, and I'll be especially careful. If you want to talk to me about it someday, then talk. If you don't want to, then don't. The only thing I hope for is that you can be happy every day. No.
Regret marrying me.
I quickly lowered my head to eat, hiding the tears in my eyes, but I couldn't help the corners of my mouth from turning up. Still, when I thought about that major corruption case that would soon shake the whole country, involving so many people, and sending numerous officials to prison, not only was Jiang Shuji inexplicably wronged and died in jail, but Sumu's entire family was also exiled. I couldn't help but worry. Xiao Yue had tried to sabotage Jiang Shujing in official circles many times, but Jiang Shujing always worked with meticulous care. He left no room for error. Having softened his demeanor toward colleagues, he recently aided the Empress's family. The Crown Prince, already impressed, now sought to win him over. With a sharp grasp of politics and talent, Zhang Shujing quickly joined the prince's inner circle. Breaking with Consort Xiao and the third prince's supporters, he became Xiao Yue's target. It wasn't easy, those tricks didn't hurt him. Pressed hard, Jiangshu grew irritable, even with Li Yueru. His gaze toward me turned predatory and possessive. He was waiting for his moment, which soon came. Months later, enemies attacked the border and burned half our grain. General Bao held the line, desperately requesting aid. With tens of thousands of lives at stake, rations had to be delivered fast, yet someone chose this crisis to play games. Before, border rations were swapped for sand. Without food, the army collapsed. The Bais and their men died in battle. The enemy advanced, decimating civilians and seizing a third of the land. When news broke, the emperor ordered an investigation. It implicated the crown prince via a finance official's blood-written letter. He confessed the crown prince made him embezzle military funds. Never expecting such a disaster, he shamefully took his own life. The crown prince couldn't explain himself. The third prince's faction struck, using prepared evidence to pin the betrayal on him. When Shujin found something suspicious and sought a reinvestigation, he was framed and jailed. He was poisoned, the crown prince deposed, the empress exiled, and his officials were executed or punished. Some were exiled, and the third prince became the new crown prince. Now Xiao Yue still wants to do things the same way as in the previous life, but I will never let her succeed again. The city has already received an urgent message from the border, and the crown prince is about to receive the imperial edict to take charge of the grain arrangements. Bai Chu volunteered to go to the front lines, insisting on personally delivering the provisions to his father and brothers. Many officials are so busy with the grain issue that they're completely overwhelmed. Jiang Shujing hasn't been home for several days. Worried that he might be too busy to eat, I prepare lunch for him every day and bring it to him at noon. That day, by coincidence, I ran into Xiao Wei when I went out. She blocked my way, staring at me like a venomous snake.
Shen Huayin. You bring food to that Jiang Shujin every day. Do you really like him that much?
I put on a stern face and said, "Of course I love my own husband. My husband is waiting for me, so I won't chat with you." I tried to dodge her and leave, but she suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly, her voice turning vicious.
In just a few days, Jiang Shujin, that useless man, will meet his end. Sooner or later, you'll be mine, Shen Huayin. Let's see how you try to run away then.
Xiao Yue, you're just like a mad dog right now. Off. Xiao Yue licked his lips, his eyes filled with excitement and anticipation as he stared at my back. I also smiled slowly. Xiao Yue, your retribution is coming soon. A few days later, the courier, riding 5 Lotus-branded express horses day and night, rushed back with frontline intelligence.
Brother, the provisions arrived on time! Just in time! Our army won a total victory, pushing the enemy back 30 miles!
Everyone was overwhelmed and shouted for joy.
That's amazing! We won!
The third prince and Xiao Yue were pale with fright. The crown prince glanced at them grimly and said,
Father Emperor. When I was in charge of transporting the grain, I discovered that the finance officer was planning to embezzle funds in secret.
He tried to swap out the urgently needed rations for the troops. In order not to alert him in advance, I had someone secretly keep an eye on him. Yesterday I noticed something was off about him. He has already been handed over to Chief Zheng of the Dali Temple for interrogation.
Jiang Shujing took a step forward, straightened his back, and said with a serious expression,
Reporting in, that finance officer has confessed to everything. Because his son was detained by the third prince, he had no choice but to obediently follow the instructions of the third prince and young Master Xiao, secretly swapping out the grain and shifting the blame onto the crown prince.
The ministers were stunned. Suddenly, they realized this despicable scheme harmed the country. Xiao Yue's face panicked as he shouted in defense.
This is pure nonsense! How can you believe him just based on what he says? I could just as easily claim that you, Jiang Shujing, are deliberately trying to frame me!
Jiang Shujing didn't even bat an eye. He calmly took out several reports and said unhurriedly,
Your Majesty, I found a confession at the finance officer's about the plot against the crown prince. His son was at the third prince's. There is more evidence for your review.
The evidence was undeniable. Enraged, the emperor ordered an inquiry into everyone involved. Punished, Xiao Yue was dragged off, her eyes wide, shouting like a mad dog.
No, this isn't how it's supposed to be! I was supposed to be the big winner! Jiang Shujin, it's your fault! You married Shen Huayin! That's what changed everything! You're the one who set me up!
While Xiao Yue was in prison, I went to see her once. When she saw me, her eyes turned red, and she shouted angrily,
Shen Huayin! We were husband and wife for a lifetime! After all these years together! How could you be so heartless and set me up? Why? Why?
I stared at her covered in blood from torture, looking utterly miserable, and I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Why, you ask? Of course it was to get back at you. Why talk about being husband and wife for a lifetime? That just means I was tormented by you for a lifetime. So, how does it feel to be the fat meat on the chopping block? Is it nice and thin? Xiao Yue actually asked such a ridiculously stupid question.
Shen Huayin, you resent me?
I sneered and said, You were the one who forced the marriage and took me, but then you blamed me for Li Yuru's death after she married someone else. After what you did to me, how could I not hate you to death? Xiaoyue, I wish I could kill you with my own hands. He was stunned for a few seconds.
But I still made you the young madam of the Guogong mansion. I took care of you and your family too. Shen Huayin, you clearly loved me once. Actually, I had feelings for you too. I just used the wrong method.
I said with disgust. It was because I was blind, Xiaoyue. To have been loved by someone like you is just disgusting, Xiaoyue shouted behind me.
Don't go, Huayin! Please don't go! Shen Huayin, I'm begging you, come back to me! Please come back!
Days later, the turmoil ended. The third prince was imprisoned for life, Consort Xiao sent to the cold palace, Xiao Yue beheaded, and Li Yueru exiled. Before her execution, Xiao Yue screamed my name, muttering nonsense. She searched for me among the crowd, dying with eyes wide in resentment. Once the front lines quieted, Bai Chu returned to the capital. Encountering me and Sumo on the street, he bowed deeply.
Shen Huayin, thank you so much for your advice. After that day, I went home and thought about it for a long time. I finally realized how foolish I used to be and saw clearly what I should be doing.
The hardships he endured fighting on the front lines a few months ago completely got rid of his city-bred delicacy, and he gained a lot more of a soldier's toughness and resilience. I smiled and nodded, saying, "You're welcome." The men of the Bai family are upright and dependable. They would never let anyone down. The Bai father and sons serving the country truly deserve a good ending. Sumo also turned his luck around. Zhao, who is always cheerful and loves beautiful things, quietly tugged at me and said, "Grandpa, that Bai Chu isn't as annoying as he used to be. Actually, he looks pretty handsome now." I held back a laugh and replied, "What's up? Like him? I don't like you, so stop talking nonsense." Jiang Shujing is less busy now and makes time for me, especially after the swapped rations incident. He didn't press for details when I stayed quiet. Instead, he just stayed closer. He's so meticulous. When I said Zhu family cakes were too sweet but others lacked flavor, he tested dozens of recipes himself to get the ratio right. Watching him try each one, his brows furrowed so tightly, if you didn't know better, you'd think he was doing scientific research. When I joked about it, he answered honestly,
If it's something my wife loves to eat, then it's a matter of utmost importance. Try this one and see how it tastes.
I took a bite of the osmanthus cake he handed me, and my eyes lit up. This is delicious. I really like it.
Right?
I quickly nodded, afraid he'd keep experimenting. If he did, I'd really end up throwing up. Seeing me swallow this piece, he smiled in satisfaction.
Now that my wife is full, it's time to feed me.
Miss Xiang, what's with you? It's broad daylight right now.
It's fine, just draw the curtains. No one can see.
You